All right, I just had what feels like a breakthrough in terms of deep pocket. I've tried all the deep pocket cues I've heard of, and none of them seem to work. I just felt like I was trying harder and getting no improvement in my stats for the most part. So in this video, I'm going to explain what I did and how it pretty much immediately unlocked a deep pocket for me, which was surprising. And now I'm playing on the course, testing it out, not exaggerating it as much as I was into the net with the TechDisc. So in the few throws that I show on the course here, as I explain what I'm thinking about doing, it may not look like I'm getting very deep, but when I'm exaggerating it more, it seems to be working quite well. What's super interesting about it is it feels like it's mostly just a mental model change, just changing the way I thought about it, and then suddenly it was accessible to me. So I'll get right into the cue and then explain it further. But first I just want to explain, who might this be for in terms of like where you're at in your form, where it could be useful and likely will not be useful at all if you're in a certain place with your form. All right, so who's this not for? If you're throwing this way and you reach back like this, collapsing, this is called horizontal collapse, when this shoulder angle here between your chest and your upper arm gets less than 90 degrees. So it's like you're hugging yourself. If you reach back like this, no deep pocket cue is going to help you. You can't get to a deep pocket because you're blocked off. So I have a video on the reach back, a long one, deep dive into the mechanics, and then also a video on coiling, which I think is a big reason why people who don't know how to coil, they reach back like this because they're trying to get the disc back here, and they don't realize the reach back is actually reaching out directly away from your chest, 90 degrees here or a little bit wider, and then the coiling is what turns it into what looks like a reach back. The chest turns back and the arm is just reaching away the whole time. So check out those videos linked in the description. Also down there, if you want a TechDisc to test things out for yourself, I've got an affiliate link, Patreon, Form Arrow for form reviews. So in order to work on a deep pocket, you need to be at least reaching back something like this. Your chest is turning back and your arm is going away from your chest so that there's a clear path for the disc to get in front of your chest instead of already being behind your chest. Some people will start from this good position and then they'll collapse like this, but you at least need to be starting from this position so you got a clear path into a shallow pocket or a clear path into a deep pocket. This hole is 386. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. New cue and basically parked a hole that I don't park that often. All right, so getting into what the cue is. So in the past, when I used to think more about out, in, out, I remember at one point trying to intentionally come in and like hit my left pec and see if I can redirect out more aggressively with more power by coming in really aggressively and coming back out. Didn't seem to really work. Then just recently, I was just messing around after some TechDisc throws and was like, you know what, let me try that again, but on full briefcase. With more room, if I get it even closer on full briefcase, what happens then? So I tried that. I actually got some pretty good stats doing that, surprisingly. Like, not when I hit my chest necessarily, but when I got it really close, I felt it kind of brush up on the left pec. Then I realized, wait a second, I've never actually tried to smack my right pec with the disc like I've tried with my left pec or have accidentally done to my left pec before. I've tried all these deep pocket cues you know, drive the elbow across, go into your armpit. That's basically it for the most part, seems like. Or, you know, holding your rear shoulder back so that the arm can go across. But they all sound to me and make me think about going across the chest from the left pec, past the left pec to the right pec. This, though, was just, I'm skipping the left pec. I'm just going to try to smack myself in the right pec. Immediately, I got a deep pocket, pretty much, almost immediately. It got a little bit deeper towards the middle, and then when I exaggerated it more, it got pretty deep looking. I'll show an example. All of a sudden, I was like, wow, that's all it took. I didn't suddenly, yeah, my arm was moving faster than my rotation, but I didn't suddenly like get a faster arm overnight. I didn't suddenly do something. It didn't feel like I suddenly learned an extremely hard new skill. It just felt like I changed the way I thought about the pull through line. And instead of thinking about I have to get to the left pec before I can get to the right pec, that just changed everything for me. Now, this is an exaggeration, actually trying to hit yourself to make sure you really go straight towards the right pec directly. So what's the right amount? I don't know yet. I'm still working on it. So I'll put a picture on screen to kind of explain it, but basically the pull through line feels like instead of it coming into the left pec here and then trying to go across to get to a deep pocket, you're just pulling directly straight into your right pec here, and then it redirects out from there. Or it sometimes even feels like I'm throwing through my right pec, and like I don't even feel the redirect all that much. I'm only using Ezra here because he's got a really good top-down view. I'm not suggesting that this is what Ezra's doing. So it just started out as the thought of, let me try to smack my right pec with the disc, like really commit to that. And then after, it kind of shocked me how effective it was when I saw my pocket getting deeper than it ever has been before by far. So then I started trying to think of a way to visualize it, to kind of explain what it felt like I was doing. And this is what I came up with, where it feels like I'm not crossing this red line with the disc. Now, I didn't think I was really actually doing this. It's just what it kind of felt like I was trying to do. But then I got that top-down view of myself really exaggerating it, where I did my best to draw a green line through my left pec as I'm rotating to try to see it better. Normally when I reach back this wide, I coil an extra amount, which then makes the reach back more aligned to the target. But here I was still warming up, so I wasn't coiling fully. And I made sure to test this cue with a less wide reach back as well, and it still worked. Now on softer throws, you actually can hit your right pec, and that's a good way to practice it, I feel like. I didn't even hit it there, I tried. But on harder throws, it felt like it was completely impossible to hit my right pec, and so there was like not even really a risk. Now when I first tried this cue, I was actually thinking about doing it on briefcase, because I thought without briefcase there's not as much room. I thought maybe I would actually be able to hit my chest, and hitting it with the sharper side, I don't feel like there's that big of a risk of hitting yourself that hard. But just in case I did, I wanted to give myself more room and hit with the top of the disc. Also, it's easier to stay internally rotated. Like my elbow's dropped here, you can do that, but you can't get the disc like this with the elbow dropped. I guess you can kind of, but it's just a lot harder to do, I guess, or a lot less likely to happen. You're a lot more likely when you rotate it this way to naturally just internally rotate and bring the elbow up. But I did try some of them just throwing without any briefcase, and I still didn't really ever fully hit my right pec. So yeah, but be careful. Even though the cue I did use was really smack myself. Like you could even think about like punching your right pec like this. That's what I thought about. Here's an example of a throw where I tried this cue with no briefcase. I get deeper than this, but I pause it here to show I get more elbow dip without the briefcase usually. You can see my forearm plane is crossing my shoulder plane. Just a side note on this elbow dip, if I want to reach back without a briefcase but also avoid this elbow dip, what I have to do is during the pull through pretend like I'm going to turn it into a briefcase slightly just to get myself to actively internally rotate enough to cancel out this elbow dip, which I believe is driven by external rotation. But the problem with that is it's a kind of like a do just enough thought, which is easy to fall short of, and that's why we often exaggerate things. And so a briefcase is like the exaggerated internal rotation, and so it gets me to actually do it enough. So that's why I still stick with it. So I'll put a clip now that where I was holding something that was extending away from my left pec. To show and verify for myself that I actually was skipping the left pec and not getting stuck behind the thing that was extending out, and that my pull through line was just more direct to the right pec and skipping getting close to the left pec. But it will always look like, right now, the disc on my reach back coiled position is always in between, like my left pec is behind the disc from the camera's point of view. So even if I go direct to the right pec, it's still gonna look like the disc is crossing my left pec. So it feels like all the other cues that for me, they get me to think about trying to pull across from left to right pec. I'm sure for most people, that's how they end up visualizing it as well. And it feels like there's just no chance to do that if you think about coming to the left pec first, because as the disc gets close to the left pec, your chest is also rotating into it. And your body feels that, and it's like, oh shit, we gotta go out. And so you just end up having to go out right away without ever having a chance to pull it across. I'm sure it's possible, but this just feels like it's so much easier. And like the deep pocket is instantly available from the start of your pull through. Like as soon as you start the pull through, it's already determined if you're gonna be able to get to the deep pocket or not, based on like the angle that you're kind of pulling through on. The other thing is, I think even if it's possible to get to the left pec and then just yank it across like this, I wonder if my mind or my body's a little bit like worried about doing it too hard, like just like ripping my arm off or something, because there's kind of like, where's the end? Am I just gonna, if I do successfully do it and I'm trying really hard to do it, where does it end? It ends at me bottoming out the range of motion, which is scary to like your body to go all the way to the end of the range of motion. So maybe it kicks in like self-preservation mode and prevents you from doing that. Whereas smacking your right pec, there's a clear end to that if you actually succeed. My arm is not gonna go, my elbow is not gonna go any further than this. So if that was a factor, that kind of self-preservation, yeah, even though there's self-preservation about not wanting to hit yourself too hard, I know I've done it before on the left pec and it didn't hurt, so I'm not worried about it. And I know if I fully succeed in doing it, my arm's not gonna get any further than this, and this feels like my arm's not gonna get hurt if I go into this position more aggressively. For me personally, your mileage may vary, so be careful. So that kind of maybe freed up the ability to really commit to doing it with some extra like force that I wasn't able to commit to before. But most importantly, I think, is simply that if you are bringing the disc towards the left pec first, you just get stuck, you get caught there, and you end up having to go out, and you don't really have a chance to actually drive across deep. And this no longer feels like, to me, like I'm trying to drive across deep actually. It just feels like if I go like this and hit my left pec, and I think to myself, I wanna do this and hit my right pec, like my elbow just slides over. It doesn't feel like I'm driving it. It's just like, oh, we're gonna hit the left pec, slide. We're gonna hit the left pec, whoop, just slides over. It doesn't feel like I'm like, doing anything like that.
Just to clarify on this feeling of the elbow kind of just sliding over automatically, it kind of feels like it's driven a bit by my desire to bend my elbow more. You can see on the right side it's like at 90-degree angle, and on the left side it's smaller than 90, which is what I need to do to get the disc closer to my right pec. So it feels like this bending the elbow more is kind of powering up the horizontal abduction, that's the elbow drive, as long as I have the space for it. But again, this is only possible because the pull-through path is more towards the right pec. If the pull-through path was more towards the left pec and I try to bend my elbow more, then I'm just going to end up smacking my left pec and have no chance at getting deeper.
So it's very interesting. I did get more sore in like my deltoid area, so I was using this horizontal abduction elbow drive motion, but it didn't feel, I wasn't focusing on trying to use it, which is awesome because it just happened. Come back. All right. So far, the highest speed I've hit with it is 68 miles per hour. Which is only like 2 miles per hour below my all-time max. But that was in the first session I tried it, where I don't think I was exaggerating it as much as the second and third sessions where I tried it. So it looked like on footage I was getting deeper than usual, but not really deep like in the later sessions. So in the later sessions, I still had good speed, like for me, like pretty consistently hitting 65, which if I can consistently hit 65 in the course, that'd be a big improvement for me. And yeah, I'm not worried though that I haven't like broke a new speed PR right away. I think I just need to get used to the timing, and maybe change, some other things might need to change. But it feels like there's a lot of potential here to increase not only my speed, but definitely my spin. I'm already seeing a trend in increasing my spin. Interestingly, into the net, my launch angle was unusually low and my nose angle unusually high. I'm not worried about that. I'll be able to fix that once I have more like bandwidth mentally to focus on those things, and I'm not so focused on just getting to the deeper pocket. But on the course, so far off the tee, my accuracy has been pretty good, and I haven't been like completely turfing it or hitting the ceiling. So it may have just been with the net, not focusing enough on where I'm aiming, because I'm just focusing on, like, I'm literally just thinking about get the disc to the right pec and not really focusing on where I'm aiming as much as usual into the net. Right after I say that, I get to a hole that's kind of become a nemesis hole for me. Used to be just an easy hyzer outright, then all of a sudden, as my power changed, now it's like just hard to hit it. But also for the nose angle, it does feel like the timing is different because I'm getting to this deep pocket, and as I come out of the pocket, it just feels a little bit different. The timing feels a little bit different, so my muscle memory of when to turn the nose down is not happening like it normally does. But I know for sure how to fix it, and as soon as I'm able to focus on it, I know it won't be an issue. So I'm not worrying about it right now. Oh yeah, dude. Hit the gap. It's a little short, but this gap is surprisingly like weird, hard to hit. Like you can see how much the gap is not aligned with the tee box. Something I have to keep reminding myself is if I want to hit this gap, I need to be running up kind of this way more. We all get so used to standing on the back right of the tee box, and then it's like, oh, you missed the gap to the left. Well, yeah, no shit, you're walking up this way. Don't pop the ziploc drill.
Now that I've been getting a deeper pocket and my arm's getting more used to it, I wondered if I could intentionally bring the disc closer to the left pec first and still get to a deep pocket. I didn't feel like I was ready to go back to the old deep pocket cues. I might be able to use those now though, as I'm getting more used to this. So instead, I kept thinking about trying to smack my right pec with the disc, but I just let my pull through start bringing the disc closer to the left pec first. In this session, I did average a slightly higher speed by letting the disc come closer to the left pec first before going deeper, compared to trying to skip the left pec completely and go straight to smacking the right pec. So as I said before, the initial cue of going straight to smacking the right pec and skipping the left pec is an exaggeration, and so it may not be optimal for speed, or maybe I just need to get more used to it and then I'll start getting higher speed. But what's most important about it is it's actually given me access to a deeper pocket, so I can now start experimenting more with a deep pocket and trying to find out how to take advantage of it. I did try this again the next day, letting the disc come closer to the left pec before trying to smack the right pec, but it didn't seem to be working as well in terms of getting a deep pocket. However, the cool thing is it feels like the exaggerated cue of just going straight to the right pec and skipping the left pec is pretty reliable, so I can always go back to that to get back to a deep pocket.
All right, well, I think I already explained everything that I thought about talking about with this cue. It's pretty simple since it's just like changing the way I think about the pull through line a little bit, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna keep working on it, and I'll continue to release. I'll release like an update on how my stats are changing over time with it, to see if it helps me get a speed boost in time, or if it helps me just more consistently get to my high speed that I already have but don't get there consistently. Yeah,